what's up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Dennis. Today I have something very special for you guys. It's a video that I've been wanting to make for a few months, almost a year now. And, you know, it's something that's dear to my heart and something that I love a lot. So today's video is actually going to be on my 2002 Mazda Protege5. This vehicle actually has 350,000 miles on the chassis, and it is a 21-year-old car. So I'm not even gonna do the math with it, but the car itself, like I said, has 350,000 miles on it. My dad bought it in 2011, and then when he bought it, it had 110,000 miles, and then he gave it to me in 2017. In 2017, the vehicle had 303,000 miles. 303,000 miles on it. So when I received the vehicle, it needed a lot of work. It needed a lot of work. I mean, everything from the suspension to the motor mounts to a tune-up to tires to, you could just, I can't even name it all, but it had a lot of work that needed to be done on it. So what I did was that I decided, hey, why not start restoring the car, right? It is a car you can modify too. So, you know, I received it, and the first thing I did to it was I changed the suspension. So replaced the struts with coilovers, redid all the bushings, control arms, end links, everything you can think of, suspension-wise, I did it all. And then a few months later, I did the aluminum radiator. So I changed that out for a Mishimoto aluminum radiator. And then after that, I did the motor mounts, which took me the longest because, honestly, it wasn't the greatest, it wasn't the greatest time for me. I mean, you know, when I think about this car, I think about the difficult times it got me through, in other words, right? So it was difficult to just throw money at it, because it was just not doable at the time, but I managed somehow. And, you know, throughout the last, 2017, 2023, 6 years, I have driven this thing around 50,000 miles now. In 2021, the motor actually went out at 343,000 miles. The stock motor on this car finally was like, I'm done. I've had enough. I can't keep going. And it was a sad day for me because I didn't know. I wasn't sure if I was gonna rebuild the motor in this car. I wasn't sure if I was gonna keep it. I thought, you know, how about we sell it and we get a different car, in other words, right? But I did it. I made the choice and I said, you know what? Let's rebuild the motor, let's turbo the damn thing and get it back on the road. So it sat for 2 years, 2021, 2022, 2023. We just got it back in May. And the reason behind that is COVID. COVID made it very difficult to get certain parts, specifically the SuperTech valves and springs. So that's why it took so long to rebuild. Without those parts, we didn't have a head. So after it's sitting for 2 years, we finally got it up and running, right? So I had Arlington Machine in Riverside, California, do the block and the head, and they removed they cleaned up the oil galleys, removed the what do they call it? The oil squirters. That's what I want to call them right now. We put in forged K1 rods, forged Wiseco pistons. We put in titanium valves. I think it's titanium. Titanium valves. SuperTech valves and springs in the head. We got the head ported and polished, and then we got a new transmission. And what else? Oh, and then we got the Racing Beat sway bars, both front and rear. Most people don't like the front sway bar from Racing Beat. A lot of people prefer the OEM one, but I like both. And, you know, again, that's everyone's it depends on you, right? On your persona and what you like in a vehicle. But yeah, um, we rebuilt the motor. We got this thing up and running, and now it has around 7,000 miles on it ever since we started running it. And just recently, it hit 350,000 miles on the odometer. You know, the funny thing is, before the stock motor gave out on this car, before it gave out, I didn't do any oil changes in the car for 40,000 miles because it was burning so much oil that I had to put oil in it every single day. So I never changed the filter once, and I didn't bother doing any oil changes because like, what's the point? It's just burning the oil. So I think that was its demise. I think, but that's the reason it's here. And now that we have a forged motor, a built motor, right? I didn't turbo it yet. I haven't gotten the standalone ECU, but that is definitely in the works for next year. And then we're gonna have AWR give us a roll cage. We're gonna get them, not give us, I mean, we're gonna get a roll cage from AWR so we can track the car, because at some point this vehicle is not gonna be road legal. It is only gonna be track legal per se, right? We're gonna throw in a CX Racing intercooler kit, a standalone ECU, Garrett turbo, a Pope exhaust manifold, and a Pope downpipe for this car. And if it isn't turboed, we're gonna keep it NA, just in case, right? NA, hopefully we turbo it. If it goes NA, we're gonna throw in AWR headers, true 421 headers in this, and then just leave it as it is for now. I mean, it does have an MP3 ECU, which adds 10 horsepower, which makes somewhat of a difference when you drive this car, because these only come stock with 130 horsepower. So they're not the quickest off the line, but they're definitely very quick around the corner. I mean, you could take these things pretty quick around the corner. They handle extremely well. It feels like a go-kart. So when you're sitting in this thing, you feel like you're in a go-kart. Like everything, you get all the feedback in the steering wheel. You're like, oh snap, you know? So it's like I said, it has been a wonderful car to me, and that is why I'm making this video, because I feel like this platform itself doesn't get the love that it deserves. A lot of people see these cars at meets, and right away, a lot of people don't know what they are, or there's some, I like to call them OGs, that know exactly what this is, because this doesn't just stem out from, you know, just the Protege5. It stems out from the Mazda Speed Protege. It has the Mazda Protege MP3, and then it goes on to the Mazda 3. So this is the Mazda 3's predecessor, in other words. I think that's the word for it, right? Yeah, something like that. So before we got the Mazda 3 or the Mazda Speed 3, we had this, the BJ platform. The BJ platform. A lot of us like that for some weird reason, but I mean, we like it. Yeah, and everything about this car. I mean, I'm not gonna say. I mean, for a station wagon, I mean not station wagon, for a hatchback, I think it's well designed. It's very, what's it called? It grabs attention because you don't see these a lot anymore. So once in a while, you'll see one modified, and you're like, oh, what is that? Some people think sometimes this is a Subaru, and it's not a Subaru, but people get it confused for a Subaru. They'll be like, oh, nice Subaru. It's like, nah, bro. It's not a Subaru. It's a Mazda. You can see the emblem right there. It's right there. But you know, a lot of people get it confused for a Subaru. It isn't all-wheel drive. It is front-wheel drive. And you know, we have a few vendors out there that still provide aftermarket parts for this car. So we have. And I'm just gonna throw them out there because a lot of people, you know, look out for these. But we have JP Parts, who is a used parts dealer. We have AWR Performance. We have Hydra Motorsports. We have CR3 Motorsports. We have what's the other one? We have, oh man, I don't want to forget his company's name, but I forgot it. So I'll put it in the description below so you guys can check them out. We also have a few companies that still make it, but you have to buy them, of course, from a third party, right? Like K1, Wiseco. You got Engine that makes the cold air intake. You have Mishimoto that still makes the radiator for these cars. You have AWR that makes all 4 motor mounts for this vehicle, and they're solid mounts, by the way. So I have the 60 durometer ones, and it doesn't shake that much. They're pretty soft. So after a few weeks, months, they kind of settle in, and it doesn't feel like a stock car, but it's definitely a lot more bearable than, say, a 90 durometer solid mount, in other words. You have AWR that also makes end links. I think there's a few companies that still make coilovers for this car. There's BC, Yellow Speed, Fortunato, and a few others. So you can still find coilovers for the vehicle. You can still find bags for this car too. So if you wanna if you wanna slam the damn thing, there are bags out there for this vehicle. They are pricey though. I've seen the kit run for this car for like $4 to $5 grand, I think. So it's pretty pricey. Other than that, I mean, you know, there's some components to this vehicle that are going to be hard to find now. With age, this car is 21 years old. There's not a lot of car parts or replacement parts that you're going to find out there. Like Rock Auto has been limiting their what's it called, their catalog for this vehicle. Like there's not that much to find, and trying to find parts for this car, sometimes you got to go a little more out there to see I'm more like in and this in order to find parts for this, I got to go like 2.5 hours out just to find parts that are local to me, because a lot of places don't make parts for this car. There is one issue that a lot of people complain about with this vehicle is the EGR valve. You'll get that code a lot. I got it a lot until I figured it out, and I'll make another video on that. I'm actually going to post it because I actually have the video, so I need to post that so people are aware what causes the EGR code to come up. But I keep saying a lot. I don't like that. I gotta learn how not to say but I just wanted to come on here and make this video because I thoroughly enjoy this car. I enjoy everything about it. I just enjoy everything in regards to this vehicle, like from the way it handles, the 5 doors, the hatchback purpose. You can put a bunch of stuff in there, to the somewhat economical cost of the vehicle. I mean like gas mileage, which isn't really that good at it. I mean, you can get up to 400 miles on the tank, but now that I've rebuilt my motor, I get like 270, 300. So I do not know why. So I got to figure that out. But I'm glad that I was able to make this video for you guys to check this out and look at a car that has made it to 350,000 miles, specifically a Mazda. You don't see high mileage Mazdas around that much. So here it is, Mazda Protege5, 350,000 miles on the odometer. And if you guys must know, we are going to push towards 1 million. So keep an eye out for in the next few years. Maybe we'll hit 1 million and there'll be another video on this car if it makes it that long. But now let's go. Man, I don't want to have to redo this video, but let's go inside the interior. We'll check it out, and so you guys can see how clean it is inside actually for a 21-year-old car. And then we'll go from there, and I'll give you some highlights of the exhaust and a few other things. Cool? Let's go. So here you go, you guys. The interior of my 2002 Mazda Protege5. As you can tell, for a 21-year-old car, the vehicle has been well maintained. The dashboard shows no signs of aging. The odometer says 350,000 miles. The steering wheel is the only thing that has a lot of wear and tear. That's why there's a steering wheel cover on it, because it's completely torn apart. Both seats still in great condition. Sunroof is still working too. I did have to grease up the what is it called, the little railings on there to get it to move,
It's giving me issues for a while, but I mean, it's actually spectacular for this year. And it doesn't end. I mean, the seats back here are in pretty great shape. The roof liner, headliner, I actually cleaned it a few years ago. Looks like it's finally starting to show a few stains on there. So we're going to have to take care of that soon. The doors actually look really, really clean. And if you're wondering, my car is on. I am charging my GoPro batteries because I ran out of batteries. But it's actually, you know, like I said, in really great condition, the vehicle. You know, and on top of everything else that I enjoy on this vehicle, right? It is a hatchback. Deep down in my heart, I have always had a soft spot for any kind of wagon hatchback out there. I love them. I love the utilitarian use about it. I think that's the right word, right? But it's not an SUV. It's not a coupe. But it has the space for you to like be able to travel, for you to be able to go out, go shopping. You can bring your dog with you. You can go camping with this vehicle. And it gets somewhat decent gas mileage, right? This car has now that I've rebuilt it, my gas mileage has actually, it depends, right? If I'm driving through the city or the canyons, it can guzzle a good amount of gas. But when I'm on the freeway, due to it being rebuilt, it does absolutely fabulous. Like, the gas mileage is unheard of on this car. Sometimes I can hit 100 miles to the tank, sometimes a little bit more. And the least that I've ever hit is like 320. And that's because I drove it throughout the city all week. But that's one of the pluses of this car that I thoroughly enjoy is it's just a well-made vehicle. It saddens me that this car did not receive the kind of, I guess, publicity, the kind of marketing that other cars didn't get. This car is absolutely awesome for what it is. I mean, it is an economy vehicle, right? Mazda mass-produced it to be an economy vehicle, but, you know, with a few modifications and a few, you know, throwing on some wheels, throwing on a nice suspension on it, the vehicle just can outhandle even. It could add this car, believe it or not. And maybe because I'm not used to my Subaru, but I can outdrive my Subaru in this car. Like, if we're taking corners, I can absolutely demolish the damn Subi on the track. But that's just me because I've only been driving the Subaru for like 2 years, and it still scares the shit out of me sometimes. I'm kind of like, ugh, shouldn't be driving this car. But that's kind of funny, huh, you guys? But, you know, other than that, I mean, I've driven Mustangs. My whole life I've been a sedan guy, so I had a lot of the US shark sedans, you want to call them, or the boats. I had a 94 Dodge Intrepid when I first graduated from high school, and that thing is a boat. It is one of the biggest cars I've ever driven. After that, I also had a Ford Escort, which is a hatchback as well. And after that, I had a, a Ford Mustang, a 2001 Ford Mustang. That was okay. It wasn't that great. And then I had a Chrysler 300M. That one was all right. And then I had a 2005 Infiniti G35, which I liked. It was a good car, but it was automatic, you know. I was in a rush. I wanted to get a nicer car. I'd never had a nice car before. So I bought an automatic G35. And it was okay. It just wasn't my thing. After a while, it wasn't my thing. So then after that, we went to Subi, to the Subaru family, and we got a 2015. Well, I got a 2015 Subaru Forester XT. That is the Turbo Forester, by the way, you guys. The only issue with that car is just that the CVT transmission on it just went out multiple times, which sucked, but oh well. And then after that, man, I feel like I've had a lot of cars, is when I got this car. I got this from my dad. So I've had this car since 2017. And, from all the cars that I've driven, this is my favorite vehicle. This is my favorite car. Everything about it, I absolutely love. It's simple. That's my biggest thing with a lot of these cars now, is just, I don't like, and this might just be me. I'm not even that old, and I'm not even that old school, but I don't like touchscreens. I like buttons. I like being able to just, do this. I don't like having to look at a screen and taking my eyes off the road. But that could just be me, I've driven a few vehicles. My Subaru has a touchscreen. I am not a fan of it because you always have to look at the screen to make sure that you know what you're pressing. And in this car, it's just button after button after button. And that's one of my favorite things about any car that was, made, pre-2010 is they did have a lot of buttons. But this is like the simplest thing ever. This car has AC switches, a radio, my windshield wipers, my turn signals, and that's it. That's it. Oh, and my window switches, of course. There's nothing else to this car. And it's just absolutely the simplest thing in the world. I like to think of it as the simpler the car, the better the vehicle it's gonna be, right? Less electronics, less things to go wrong. And this one, even though it has its issues with sometimes, with emissions, which, if you guys didn't know, this vehicle tends to get a lot of codes related to the EGR valve, or what's the other one? Okay, maybe it's just me, but a lot of people complain about the EGR valve on this vehicle because it tends to throw a code here and there, right? But it's nothing that's not fixable. So if you guys need to know, that's technically what this is. The vehicle is when it gets a check engine light, that's usually the reason why. But honestly, you guys, I'm gonna end the video because I don't want to make it too long. I hope you guys enjoyed the little story behind my car. I would have made it longer, but I feel like I didn't want to keep doing retakes and just continue to make the video over and over again. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoy my vehicle. I enjoy it. I know there's a community of us that loves this car, loves everything about it. I will make another video in a few weeks, or not in a few weeks, maybe next week or tomorrow. But for those of you that are looking looking to install a cabin filter into this car, they do make one for this vehicle, just so you guys know. It is just very difficult to find, and nobody has actually made a video on it. So I decided to take my time. That I'm gonna. There's two bikers right here. I'm gonna take some time and make that video for you guys, so that you guys know that this vehicle can indeed have a cabin filter. But on that note, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe to the channel, and if you guys want, you guys don't have to, but if you guys can, that would be great. And hopefully in a few weeks, you guys will see a few more videos on this vehicle. And on that note, if you guys want to check out LA, I don't know if you guys can see it from here, but let me turn the car a little bit more. I don't know where it's aiming.